There is no Kaiser Soze.
The greatest trick ever pulled was convincing the world he didn't exist.
Who's Kaiser Soze?
Kaiser Soze!
Who's Kaiser Soze?
Kaiser Soze!
Who's Kaiser Soze?
Adobe Premiere. I like to do a little weekend editing. I recently just cut 3 minutes out of Goodfellas.
Damn, son, where'd you find this?
All right, hey everyone. My name is Vinny Hobbs. I'm a music video editor. I also edit feature films and documentaries, but today I'm going to focus on music videos and how I approach that edit process. So first of all, I'm going to talk about organization, and that being key to actually seeing the footage and absorbing it all and kind of figuring out how you're going to finalize the edit. So I'm going to start out with a video I did last year for an artist named Skrillex, featuring Rick Ross. It's called Purple Lamborghini, and it was off of the Suicide Squad soundtrack. There were a lot of layers involved and a lot of footage, and I was kind of overwhelmed at first because I didn't know how to approach this whole thing. So what I did at first was I took all the footage and I just organized my bins and made sure everything was just organized and set up so I could navigate easily through all the footage and find out what setups there were, what performances there were, and all that. And second, I color-coded each performance line so I can easily figure out what I was dealing with, and if I wanted to find something, I can easily just go to the timeline, see what's color-coded, and find it ASAP by clicking the Enable Disable tool. This all kind of helps me create tunnel vision so I can focus on the creative side of editing and not troubleshoot or get caught up with anything else that takes away from the editing process. And I'm going to show an example of what this does when you organize the footage. I'm going to go ahead and play this.
He is the one.
Okay, so you're able to see the footage in slow motion and kind of absorb everything and know exactly what you're going to do with the edit once you organize everything and know exactly what you're going to do with it. The second thing I want to talk about is one technique I use for pretty much every music video, and it's called the Pancake Timeline. So right here for this music video, I have a tab called Selects. And the first thing I do when I get footage is I scrub through every single clip, and I kind of eliminate all the bad stuff that I know won't make it in the video. and just kind of choose anything that strikes me in any type of way. And I put it in a selects timeline. And once I get all that down, I drag it down here to the bottom layer. So now I have 2 timelines, and this is called pancaking. And this is one thing I pretty much use for every single video I edit. So, for example, in this video, Purple Lamborghini, there are a lot of boat shots at the end. And let's say I just wanted to easily change this shot, for instance. I could go to my pancake, my selects timeline, and just easily drag it up right there. And there you go, it's in your master timeline. And that's one thing that just helps me move and groove when I'm in the edit. And it really just makes you see things in slow motion, just like Neo from The Matrix. So now I'm going to move on to a music video I did last year for an artist named Schoolboy Q featuring Kanye West. Now I'm going to show a clip that was shot in 60 frames per second. What that means is, if I go to the raw clips, everything was shot super, super slow motion, 60 frames. So I'll make that. So everything's really slow and cool looking. It's Kanye. So what I had to do is I had to speed that up to 250% to match it to the song. And I'm going to play the original cut and tell you what I did to enhance that in Premiere.
Yeah. That part, that part, that part, that part. Okay. That part. Beggars can't be choosers. This ain't Chipotle. With an attitude, I feel like O'Shea. Walking, living legend, man, I feel like Kobe. I just left the strip club, got some glitter.
So one thing that I thought was cool about this was I was able to use the 60 frame technique to kind of use speed ramps and cool little tricks to make that a lot more cool to watch. Now, without the slow motion, it's just kind of a bland one-take shot. And because it's Kanye, it's cool. You're looking at him, you're like, okay, he's on my screen. This is kind of tight. But I knew I could push the edit even further by using certain techniques in Premiere to do cool little speed, slow motion effects. So I'm going to kind of show how that played out in the final edit. I showed it to the director. He really liked it and ended up making it into the final cut. So I'm going to go ahead and play this out with the slow motion.
Man, this ain't okay. 4 seasons, take a shower, new clothes, I'm reloaded. Rich, still eating catfish. That ain't really bad, that's a catfish. If I walk up out of Sassville, how the paparazzi doing backflips. If I lay you down on the mattress, blow the back out till you're backless. Think we already established. She just got them done, bra strapless. Okay. That part. Beggars can't be choosers, this ain't Chipotle. That part. With an attitude, I feel like O'Shea. That part. Walking, living legend, man, I feel like Kobe. That part.
So we ended up sending it to the artist, and Kanye ended up liking it. He said that was tight, so that was pretty cool to hear. So that ended up making it to the final cut. So now I'm going to move on to something different besides music videos. I did an Audi car commercial in January. It was the first car commercial I've ever edited. And I'm going to play a little sample of what that looked like. Just pretty basic, just showing off the car, how clean and cool it looks. But one part that challenged me was one section of this. It was a clip that was supposed to resemble a TED Talk. And as you can see in the bottom right corner, there's only one group of people there. And it's kind of not believable that he would be talking to just a small group of people on the right side of an auditorium. So what I had to do was take that clip and kind of recreate more people in the room to make it feel a lot bigger than it really was. And how I did that was I used the Opacity Tool in the effects control panel. Now, I was able to kind of use this like Photoshop and really just take all the people on the right side and place them all over the room to make it seem like the whole auditorium was filled up. So if I go one by one, you could see They're constantly filling up the room. And I could only do that using the Opacity Tool and cropping out each person individually and placing them all over. And I thought that was pretty cool. And I ended up using that for a music video a month after. The artist's name was Kyle, and it's featuring an artist named Lil Yachty. So I'm going to start out with this. So there's a little kid on a beach playing a yellow piano. It's kind of confusing at first. But we also got the main artist to put himself in a green suit so we can do some cool tricks with that. Using the opacity tool and the effects control panel allowed me to kind of crop out his face manually, as you can see here, and just place his head there just for temp purposes, just for a rough cut to see if the artist was performing well and to do a quick little comp in there to make sure that everything was going smoothly. Here's another shot right here. Just a little kid, green screen, and boom. And now, here's another shot. Two little cute kids replaced by the main artist. Now I'm going to show you the before and after of doing that. But first, I'm going to show you one tool that was very, very essential into actually meeting this deadline, because there was a super tight deadline on this music video. So I had to constantly send out shots to be cleaned up. Now, one example of that, let's say I want to send this out so it could be perfected. I would select that clip by using the in and out tool. Now go ahead and hit the export button. And queue it up to Media Encoder. And the great thing about this is you're able to export multiple clips, up to 100 if you want. Give it some time to get in there. And once it goes in, there it is right there. So once you get all your clips queued up, you're able to hit the render button, go back to Premiere, and keep working. So you don't get distracted, you don't ruin the flow, and you can still stay in that tunnel vision and focus on the creative side of editing. And that's one feature I really love about Adobe. So while I was sending those out and they got perfected, the final product ended up looking like this.
Well, you're not an angel either, you can't even fly. I know this, you think that you know shit. All this shade that's coming at me, I wonder who throws it. They can't see the
So using Adobe, that really, really helped speed up the workflow and work with different people and really finalize this edit. So that was pretty fun. So now the next thing I'm going to move on to is sound and how much that helps me enhance my music video edits. So I'm going to go ahead and play a little bit of what I've done in the past.
Is this the real life? Is this just fantasy?
Forgive me for my wrongs, I have just begun.
Where does the beat come from? Where does it come from?
Until I found my safe haven. I was trying to convince myself the stripes I got. Making myself realize what my foundation was. In the room, and I run it. my loved ones was fighting a continuous war back in the city, I was entering a new one. A war that was based on apartheid and discrimination.
So now, before I move on to how I kind of dissect sound design and sound editing in Premiere, one thing that helped me with music video editing and just developing a sense of rhythm and getting used to dealing with certain types of music and songs and beats and all that, I've been hired by different directors from different countries. I've been editing videos with Spanish, Russian, Mandarin, Cantonese, and I don't speak any of those languages. But kind of having that sense of rhythm and kind of approaching the edit as if a deaf person can watch it and still understand what's going on really helps. So I'm going to play some foreign edits I've done.
Лобовуха в хлам, та сидить низко, корпус па.
Ой, такая чуткая приора.
Пойдем догоним слейфиш.
I have no idea what they're saying. And that was a Chinese artist named Chris Wu. And those were all really fun to work on. So now I'm going to move on to a different project. It hasn't come out yet. It's brand new. Let me go ahead and make sure that this is on. Let me see here. Let that load up. Also, one tool that I really love in Premiere is the warp stabilizer. I'm going to show you an example of how that really helped me for this edit right here. I'm going to go ahead and show you a before and after. There's a shot of a school bus outside of a house. It's the establishing shot for Kanye inside that house that you saw earlier. If you see the first one, it's very shaky. It kind of throws you off. It's not professional. But just slapping on that warp stabilizer that's in Premiere in the effects control panel just made it a lot smoother and professional looking, almost like they had a Steadicam operator. So that's a very, very important tool for me to use for my edits. Okay, so now I'm going to move on to a new music video that's not out yet. I'm not going to say the name of it, but I'm going to show you some sound design and sound editing techniques I use for this. So we have a liquor store robbery scene, and they didn't shoot any audio on set or record any audio on set, and that made it kind of hard on my end, but it was really fun to get Foley on my own with my iPhone, download Foley sounds from the internet, and all that stuff. So that made it really fun, but I'm going to show you the before and after of what it sounds like with sound and no sound. So I'm going to go ahead and delete these right here. You see all these layers. I'm going to go ahead and delete all of them right here. I'm going to play this scene with no sound at all. So this gave me a lot of room to create some kind of world. So now with sound, I'm going to go ahead and undo what I just did. Put all those back there and show you what it sounds like with the sounds I got with my iPhone that I was able to just put in Premiere with no rendering or anything. And here's how it turned out. And I feel like that really enhanced the intro to create some kind of narrative so you can really take in the music video as more of a movie and not just your standard music video. Also, a new tool in Premiere is the Sound Essential panel. And I think that's going to really help me out in the future. because I had to actually customize each one of these sounds. You see there's so many layers, and I had to go into each one and dissect each one and lower the volume, add effects on each one, and make sure that everything sounded good. But with the Essential Sound panel, it's going to make it a lot easier to kind of level out each sound and make everything sound level and equal and just good in general, instead of having to go into each clip individually. So now I'm going to move on and go to the Kendrick Lamar All Right video. And that's one of my favorite videos of all time. I had such a fun time editing that one. So I'm going to talk a little bit about how I approached that edit process in a second. I'm going to let that load. Okay, so here we go. So for this one, the selects timeline was crucial to meet the deadline on this. I had 3 days to turn in the first cut. And I spent the first day grabbing so many selects. They shot this over a span of 2 days, and I just had so much footage coming in, and I didn't know what to do with it at first. But to create that tunnel vision, I just took it one step at a time, grabbed my selects. As you can see, I'm going to go ahead and give you a crash course and brainwash you a little bit of all the footage I liked and had to work with. I cut out all the bad stuff that I didn't like and I knew wouldn't make the cut, and really highlighted all the stuff that I thought looked great, artistic, and something that would really complement the video. And I ended up just dragging it up. Each time I wanted to use a clip, I would just drag it up to the master timeline. I'm just going to keep on dragging. And that prevented me from having to go to the actual bins and kind of almost play Russian roulette with everything. I go to the bin, I see this, and there's just a bunch of like a wall right here. Like I don't need to use any of that. So it kind of eliminates that time to find out the golden moments in these long clips. So I really feel like the selects timeline really let me meet this deadline, this crazy deadline I had that almost stressed me out at first. But once I had my selects timeline down, I was smooth sailing, created that tunnel vision, and met that deadline in 3 days. So we're almost out of time, so I'm going to actually end this with a 2-minute time lapse of how I edited this video, my favorite music video, in Premiere after I open up this project file. Okay, don't mind that. Okay, here we go. So I'm going to go ahead and end with a time lapse of how I edited this video. I hope you guys enjoy it. So I'm going to end it there. I hope you guys enjoyed that. I hope you guys can take some tips and tools from what I just told you. And thanks for joining, and I hope to see you next time. Thank you.